Well, hi there. Welcome to part two of our previews pre-DRUPA of the exciting panel that we've got organised for May the 31st, organised by Cabot, and we're really pleased that they pulled this together. It's going to be talking about digital print for packaging, going to be looking at various different aspects of that. We are so pleased we've got someone from a brand, and Stefan is with us today, although he's not feeling 100%, but he is with us today, which is the important thing. Let me quickly introduce my two speakers today, who are just going to give us a little bit of a taste of what we're going to hear when we do the panel at DRUPA. And firstly, let me just say it's Stefan Casey from Nestle. And Stefan, I'm so pleased you've joined us today.
No, thanks, Frazer, and nice to see Nick again, and thanks for pulling this together. I think it's really important, and I think DRUPA is, I'm so excited. It's like a kid in a sweet shop almost, because it's been so long. So really looking forward to it. Yeah, and thanks for organising this. I think, really, just generally up for it and hoping to be inspired and listen to the panelists, listen to what's going on. And yeah, it's the time is ticking. We're almost there.
We're almost there. And Nick, just quickly introduce yourself. You're VP or General Manager of Inkjet Business at Cabot.
So I'm VP General Manager of Cabot's Inkjet Business. We are the world leader in aqueous pigment dispersions. And aqueous pigment dispersions are the core component of ink. And our focus is around the packaging market specifically. Where we believe water-based pigment ink has the opportunity to be a real disruptive technology and change the landscape over the coming years, starting at DRUPA, we hope.
Yeah, and I think that subjects, we've kind of looked at this before, but there's certainly a sense that there's still room for development on this, and what a better person to have on the panel than someone from a brand, a serious brand, probably the largest brand in the world. Stefan, give us a bit of an insight into your Nestle story, how you came to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah, look, I think it's great. Water-based things is definitely something we'll be interested in the whole kind of sustainability scope. But yeah, I guess I've been working now. I'm back in Nestle confectionery R&D at the York Product Design Centre. It is globally responsible for all the things we love to eat, confectionery. Yeah, sweet, sugar, all the things that keep you smiling, I guess, is the way I like to call it. And I've worked in quite a few different roles within Nestle. I'm back in packaging innovation. I had a spell out with global design, looking at more the branding, the storytelling, the digital landscape. And I've been in the company 8 years now, so getting there. But I've worked with Nestle for a lot longer in an agency role, in an academic role. So I've kind of grown up with Nestle, and it is one of the biggest brands. It's probably the biggest brand in FMCG, and confectionery for me is where my heart lies. It's one of the fun parts. It's one of the fun categories because you get to explore everything with it. You've got all the packaging substrates, all the decorative effects, all the occasions, or you can just graze with your big couch and eat away on the couch on movie night. It serves every purpose. So you can imagine the packaging challenge, the design challenge, where we're trying to encourage people to eat responsibly. I think that's one word for putting it. But it's a great Aladdin's cave for packaging, stories, and
you remind us when about the product. Really, we forget that, don't we? It's you have a balance, I guess, as Nestle, in terms of delivering something that everyone loves, but also managing it in a way.
It is. It's predominantly packaging was there to serve what? Protect the food stuff. The product is the packaging and the food stuff. I hate when people say product and they mean the food. No, it's not. It's the whole experience. It all has its part to play. And gone are the brown paper days, they're for sure. Although strangely enough, they're coming back again. But you could argue that, packaging for me is the heart and soul of what I roll out of bed for. For me, I love it. The design side, the structural side, finding that new creative release through to that new material. And I guess, been in the company as long as I have, I've done a lot, and why Nestle? why not? I mean, I've come from agency side, I've come from academic side. Some people see these corporations as huge tankers, where you immovable and you can't go quick. Well, my experience is the opposite. So, you know, I think about why I joined Nestle is I went from an academic role where I was writing papers to actually doing the stuff I was writing papers, you know. And, you know, you look back at 2016, the world was turned upside down, you know, the Blue Planet, David Attenborough, you know, the whole world went, well, what's this thing called plastic and what's it doing to our world? And to be part of those big teams, well, I'm not doing it on my own, Nestle has big teams and collaborations with many partners, we're trailblazers, you know. Scalable innovation with trailblazers, and when we get our teeth into it, we do it, and we do it big, and we have that impact. But because we are big, we have to do it right, and we don't take the risks. And sometimes that can seem a little bit slow, but honestly, sometimes from what I've seen, we've had to go super quick to make a difference.
Stefan, you just mentioned two things, and I want to pick up on that, and I'm also going to get Nick to comment. Obviously, when we're talking about digital print for packaging, we're always kind of trying to get our heads around what the key trends are in terms of packaging opportunities. So you just mentioned two things. You mentioned kind of sustainability. You also talked about plastic. You also talked about brown packaging. so there's two or three things you've already said about trend. What in your sense is out there as the big trends that are going to impact on packaging and in terms of, you know, the way we print on packaging, whether analog or digital?
Yeah, I've been in this space a long time, and I'm very vocal. You've seen me, Frazer, you've seen me present at a few places, and I'm vocal for a reason, because we have to incite change. We have to do things. We have to act on many of those sustainability challenges, but the landscape hasn't changed. Trends haven't changed. I think this is important to understand, because those trends, the sustainability one, now needs to become part of our DNA. It has to become of our just doing, our thinking. We can never go back. We can gotta look forward. There's no way we can introduce more complex materials or printing or coatings. That's the first almost stage gate. Does it make a difference to the environment? Is it impacting the environment in a negative way? And these are the kind of considerations. So I don't think trends have changed much. They've just evolved. And I think, you know, sustainability is still, for me, one of the biggest things that gets out of bed. You know, to make that impact, the paperization, Smarties, yes, all these brands that we've put paper through has made a massive difference on taking some of that plastic out, you know, hundreds and hundreds of tons. And I think that's important. But, you know, it's not everything. And I think in today's world, I think it segues very easily into, well, we've been focused so much on the materials. What about what goes on top? The inks, the varnishes. What about goes underneath? The laminates, the coatings. What about the end-to-end journey of these things, the impact of the production of them? We have to look at everything. Yeah. This is where sustainability is a bit of a greenwash for me. We need to unpick it. And there are many, many elements, but then there's always a yin and a yang. Cost. I've got to put cost out there, Frazer. It's the paradigm. You know, we can't afford everything. We're FMCG.
Let's get Nick just to comment. I mean, obviously, as a dispersions company, you all have a view of this. What's your sense, Nick?
Look, I think from a sustainability standpoint, I think inkjet is, you know, it's nearly a perfect fit in that you actually, it enables you to print what you need when you need it. It reduces wastage, which is, you know, I think one of the key components in terms of improving sustainability. So I think inkjet works exceedingly well from the sustainability perspective. And I know that I know that we'll get some more data on that at DRUPA, and you know, one of the panelists is going to be talking about that because they've just finished a large LCA. When I look at it from our role and what we can do, you know, we're very focused from a sustainability standpoint. In water-based is the number one target for us. We're enabling water-based inks. But Stefan makes a good point. It's all of this needs to be cost effective from a TCO perspective, because it's all well and good being, hitting the sustainability buttons, but then if people have to pay significantly more, that's an issue, and it stops it can kill growth before it's even begun. So in our position, we're very focused around cost and producing our materials in a way that will enable a compelling TCO. So that's a big focus for us and has been for the last 5 years. And I think that as I look at the progress that we've made around our dispersions over the last 5 years, I think it's really going to help some of the key OEMs have compelling value propositions, not just from the performance side, but also from the cost side.
Yeah, and as Stefan said, it's valid comment. But I also think there's a sense that both the consumers, us, and also the manufacturers will go. Sustainability is a dream, but actually the reality is I want to stay in business, and I want to be able to get the thing out the door, and I want to be able to import. Do you know what I mean? So there's a sense that it can't be so prohibitive, can it? Level.
I don't think it can be prohibitive, but I think gone are those days where I've worked on luxury boxes of chocolates for various companies where I've got 14 colours and varnishes on there and a really thick material. They're gone. Unless you're the super luxury and they have deeper pockets than the customers we want to bring smiles to faces on. So I think water-based, really interesting, but I think cost is key. But also the attractiveness to the consumers. These technologies have still got to deliver. They still got to get the ink down on the papers, the substrates. What does it look like? What does it jump off the shelf? There's so many trends that affect in this, and then. There was a good thing that Nick mentioned about digital. Where does that fit? And I guess this digital bucket is the next trend, which has always been around for those long enough in the tooth. We go back to, printed electronics and keyboards on packaging and lights and all these kind of crazy things. But generally, AI has drawn a lens on things. And I think this breathes a whole new life into digital connected packaging, gateways beyond the pack, consumers being able to talk to brands, track and traceability. All of this empowers, and a lot of this can be delivered through the printed media. So, it's interesting space. Really interesting.
Funnily enough, I did a piece of there's a bunch of researchers who were looking at DRUPA, and we were talking a little bit about the landscape of DRUPA. And obviously in the past, it's always been a machinery focused event. It's strategically, it was about that, but actually everyone's saying it's more than that now. And actually it's about, like you've just said, it's about technology integration, things like AI, things like workflow, color management, inks. It's less about the big technology, the big machines, and more about how do we make that work? How do we make that effective? And that's what's interesting about this next DRUPA in a way. Just going back to the relationship, I guess, between you as Nestle and your packaging converters. How close is that? What's that relationship like? Do they understand you?
Well, the relationship's critical. We can't progress without them. It's as simple as that. Let's draw a line on that one, because they are a crucial part of our production. And I prefer to think of my Halo suppliers and converters as my partners in crime sometimes. And that true collaboration is what I thrive for, and what I try to deliver and bring, at least to the R&D world, and then hopefully that progresses into more of the procurement and into something that becomes a standard partner. But for me, converters are on a learning curve. And there are those converters who are ahead of the curve and understand that they need to almost work with brands to help them develop their said machinery, their production capabilities, try to understand directly without treading on the toes of other of their partners, converters, OEMs, all these kind of things, PSPs. They have to manage their own relationships, because ultimately they're selling to each other sometimes, and I get that. But I'm super open with it, and I think you'll find brands are trying to circumnavigate that so that they go to the genuine innovators to give them that insight undiluted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, it's risky in some ways because we're giving you a need, but then sometimes that develops a relationship, a partnership, a new product development. It can lead in many different ways.
Yeah.
Or you take the information and something happens in 5 or 10 years' time. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I think this is what I'm seeing more and more. You know, a lot of people are going direct, creating brand teams and working direct.
Interesting. Nick, did you want to add anything to that? That talks a little bit about that whole supply chain and how that's significant. You know,
so it's interesting. If you think about where we are in the value chain, we are a dispersion maker that goes into an ink, which then gets printed on, a digital press. When we talk to brands, we get a real sense of they want to understand more about digital from a capability perspective, from a readiness perspective, from a cost perspective. So they want to understand what digital and what inkjet and what water-based inkjet can do for them. They know what they want, the effects that they want, but one of the things that I've noticed, to be really honest, is I don't think the converters have been the champions of inkjet in the way that we certainly would have liked. And you take a step back and you say, well, why is that? Well, I think that there's people have got big businesses that are on the current technology. And I think there's a status quo to a bit to from a perspective that people are comfortable with. And I also think digital is different to analog, the way the way that you have to sell it, the way that you have to talk about it. It is different. And I think that's been a barrier in a way. And that's why I really like these, collaborations, with people like Stefan and Nestle, because it enables you to connect. And I think there is a big chunk of what's needed is this connectivity between brands, between converters, between suppliers like the key OEMs, and people like us who have a big impact in terms of the performance and the cost of the final product.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that coming out of DRUPA, we will see the converters really jump more into action and get much more involved in the space. That's what I expect and hope, but let's see.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you both about that in a moment, about what you hope for from DRUPA. But just before that, I think everyone's always interested. Stefan, your business is consumer facing, so really, like all of us, we are facing certain global challenges ourselves. Sustainability, you've mentioned, global instability, skill shortages, recessions, inflation, all these things. How generally is the sort of VUCA world, this volatile world, how is it impacting generally on the F&B market, the F&B sort of industry?
It's excuse me, it's huge. It's impacting every part of our value chain. From if you think about the supply, of the raw ingredients, my world of chocolate, cocoa has gone through the roof. Yeah. So that in itself creates a challenge on we can't really start to add more cost. How long is that going to sustain itself for? The grain impact from the wars. Kit Kat's made out of wafers. It's got grain.
Yeah.
It impacts. And we've seen wholesale price hikes in absolutely everything. And we've tried not to pass that on to our consumers and customers, but it happens. There's a tipping point with all of these. But I think, it's how we deal with them. I think not just Nestle, but corporations that are successful, businesses that are successful, is about navigating them, is about, I think creativity is one of those skills that was perhaps pushed to like design people and kind of left, but actually the creative thinking and design thinking, stuff that has been ingrained in me is now leading models and frameworks, is now getting people to think out of the box, inside the box, throw away the box. It's very different thinking. And sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. But if you're going to get it wrong, fail fast, learn quickly. You know, these are the things you need to do.
Do you sense that the businesses that are real innovators are the ones that are willing to take a bit of risk and get things wrong?
I think, I mean, I work for Nestle, so risk is not something that takes lightly, you know, and it's very steady. But, you know, in R&D, we do take risks, but they're very calculated, and we know they're going to kind of work, really. You know, we're pretty good at it. Yeah. So, but that's because we've got years of due diligence. We've got great people, great teams, great systems, processes, and partners, you know. And I think that's where we leverage the entire network. But, you know, things do fail. But for me, I think there are tools out there that are helping us accelerate and find information. I'm going to bang on digital again and AI. I love it. It's like my new playground. You know, it's helping me think quicker. It's helping me conceptualize quicker. And one day, who knows where it can take us? You know, maybe I can design a pack and that's getting printed on a digital print press in the future. You know, there's lots of ways of slicing up this cake, I think. But I think skills, creativity, people, they should be at the heart of your business. Embrace the talent you have and go and seek the talent you don't, and invest in them. I think this is the culture you need to have, this cultural shift of innovation and design. You don't have to create roles with these hats on. You should just embed it into the people and the roles of the everyday. Yeah.
No, I think that those 2 or 3 points you've made there are going to come out at DRUPA. I think in the conversations that everyone has, the skill shortages be one, creativity be another, getting away from traditional supply chain routes to thinking differently. So I think you're right, you're spot on. Nick, did you want to add anything now? I'm always interested just to hear what people have. You know, DRUPA hasn't taken place for 8 years. So you know, Nick, what are you thinking? What's going to be there? What are you hoping for?
Oh, look, I think that what we're going to see at DRUPA, I'm excited for DRUPA. I think that what you're going to see, without giving away any individual launches, is you are going to see a lot of people with good companies with water-based inkjet technology that is ready for the mainstream. So I think as we start to look and say, right, are we now in a place where inkjet can start to, you know, take share from analog in the you know, for example, the corrugated market? And that's been a question for a while. Well, one of the things that's been there's been some technology about, but not that much. There hasn't been that much choice. The converters will now have choice, and they will have good choice. And the cost, I think, is going to surprise people from a TCO perspective. So I think that we'll walk away from DRUPA with a host of offerings that makes the adoption of inkjet, water-based inkjet technology in packaging applications, it takes away a big barrier. There will be choice for converters.
Yeah, and interesting, you mentioned a couple of major manufacturers. There are a number of major manufacturers, particularly corrugated. We've got a couple on the panel, which is EFI and KBA, as mentioned. Just to remind everyone about the panel, it is Hall 1. It is room 17. It is 11:30 on May the 31st. We're really looking forward to that panel. It's going to be good. I'm really hoping that we can explore some of the themes that we've talked about today. Stefan's given us some nice little kind of insights into understanding a bit of the brand world, and also mentioned a couple of topics and trends that he sees as kind of crucial. Stefan, giving you the last word of the discussion today, any final comment you wanted to make about what you hope for at DRUPA?
Well, I echo Nick and everything he said. I really am excited. It's been so long. I'm expecting to wear many hats and get excited with many technologies. And I'm glad it's expanding from the production of the machinery as well. That, you know, the broader thinking is needed, because you need to be thinking of the entire chain, not just this is the machine, this is the material, this is the ink.
Yeah.
You need to bring it together. You need to see it together. So look and feel massive. The materials, the inks, the print and effects, they're all going to be the twinkles. But for me, it's the new digital. What's happening with the new digital offerings? That's the bit. I really feel that digital print, with the AI and everything happening, this is the era. We're going to get it right. We're going to nail it. You know, the cost paradigm is out there. I've been open about it. It's great for promotion. It's great for customization. But I want to hit mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to be a genuine contender or a partner with conventional. You know, conventionals are reacting at the same time. But I'm quite excited, and I'm hoping to walk away with a lot of inspiration, a lot of contacts, and these events do matter. You know, I've been to many of these events, and some of the projects I've set up and been partnered with, they've come from similar events. So it can happen. And I think it's a huge event. I'd love to spend more time out there, but a few days, I'm going to be really busy.
I think we're all looking forward to it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today. Good that we could do a little preview of the panel. This is going out as a podcast and also as part of our virtual preview of DRUPA. So thank you very much to both of you, Nick, Stefan. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you.
Stefan, thanks very much. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.